Today we're looking at the problem, find all possible stable binary arrays 1. This was a problem featured in Biweekly contest 129. It's a pretty interesting DP problem that I was not able to solve, but I went and upsolved it. I'm going to show everyone how to do it today. So the question reads, we're given three positive integers, 0, 1, and limit. A binary array is called stable if the number of occurrences of 0 in an array is exactly 1. The number of occurrences of 1 in an array is exactly 1. And each subarray with a size greater than limit given here, must contain both a 0 and a 1. We want to return the total number of stable binary arrays. So looking at an example, we can kind of see what this means. So here we have 0 is 3, 1 is 3, and limit is 2. This means we have to place 3 zeros, so we're going to have at least 3 zeros. We need to have 3 ones, and we need to make sure with this limit that at most 2 consecutive elements ever come before each other. So you can see here we have 2 zeros and a 1, and you can see that in all these examples essentially that we only ever have at max 2 consecutive elements, which is what this limit is telling us. So when looking at this, you should kind of pick up a couple signals that this might be a dynamic programming problem. So one thing is that we have to make choices, right? And whenever we have to make choices, we should immediately think of dynamic programming, because dynamic programming is very good at making this choice and then being able to recurse into the smaller subproblems. And the smaller subproblems is really the key to figuring out this dynamic programming. So you'll see our main problem here is that we have 3 ones and 3 zeros. When we break this down, we can either make a choice of adding a 0 or adding a 1. And what this essentially does is break these into smaller overlapping subproblems. So here, this would become, we now have a problem where we have 2 zeros to add and 3 ones. Here we have still 3 zeros but 2 ones. Then we can break these down even further. This will become 1 0, 3 ones. This will become 2 zeros, 2 ones, etc., etc. So you can see that we can pretty easily map this problem as dynamic programming because we can make a choice, and that will help us break it into these smaller overlapping subproblems. So another question is, how do we handle the limit portion of this problem? If the problem was just to place this many ones and zeros, it would be a very straightforward recursive problem. We wouldn't really even have to do much thinking, but this limit makes it much more complicated. So let's kind of think from the beginning, right? We can make a choice to place a 0 or a 1. And how many zeros and ones can we place? Well, we can place up to limit, right? So say we make the choice to place 2 zeros. So what does this mean for the rest of our array? Well, we see that our previous is 0, right? So in this case, it makes the most sense to try to place the opposite element. And how many of the opposite can we place? Well, we could place 1, or we could place 2. We can place up to limit. So essentially, what we can do is keep track of our previous element. And what we can do is say, okay, we see our previous is 0, so let's try placing 1s. So what we can do is say, all right, let's place a 1. And then what we want to do is, with this state here, we're going to call it recursively. Or we can place 2. And we also want to call this state recursively. Right? So then essentially we'll be here. And we do the same logic. We'll have access to our previous element, and we say, okay, our previous is 1, so we know we can now place at most limit 2 zeros. So we can place a 0 here, we recurse, place a 0 here. So what will then happen is you might be thinking, well, we're placing 2 zeros. We could also place a 1 here, right? Well, after we come back from this recursion, we'd have a for loop that would say, okay, our previous here is 0, so let's place 1s, right? So essentially what we're doing is at every step, we're going to look at our previous and we're going to try to place the opposite and essentially keep recursing. So this check for the previous will allow us to effectively alternate our 0s and 1s. So what this would kind of look like is let's start from the beginning and just kind of walk through it a bit more. So initially, we would place a 0, we'd recurse, and we'd say, okay, our previous is 0, so now we can place up to 2 1s. So we'd place a 1, we'd come down, we say, okay, our previous is a 1, so we can place at most 2 zeros. We'll place a 0, recurse. So essentially, this first array will just be alternating, right? But then at the end, we would come back from this recursive call and say, we can place up to 2 zeros. We haven't done that yet. So now we'll place another 0, right? And that's another valid case here. So then we'd remove both these zeros and say, okay, we haven't tried the case where we did 2 1s, so we'll add a 1 here. Then basically we'll see our previous is 1, so we'll add zeros, etc., etc. So you can kind of see how just having the previous element and knowing what our limit is allows us to effectively generate all of these possible subarrays and still keep it within the limit. So we said this is DP. And it's important to know with DP what dimensional DP we have. And dimension essentially means what the number of state that we need to keep track of. So here we need to know 3 things. We need to, at every state, know the number of zeros. We need to know the number of 1s. And we need to know whether our previous was a 1 or a 0. So essentially what this means is this is going to be a 3D dimensional programming problem. So 3D dynamic programming. A lot of times in competitive programming context, you'll see this 3D, 2D, 4D. So 3D is getting up there. Usually when you have 4D or 5D, you're going to have very, very low constraints. It's going to be very hard to pass these tests. So you want to kind of get these states as few as possible you have to keep track of. So 3D is a good compromise here that we can use to pass our memory and time limits. So let's hop over to the code and I can show you exactly how this works. So the first thing we do is set up this helper function called findNumbers. And this is going to be 3-dimensional dynamic programming, so it's going to take in 3 arguments. So first is 0. This is the number of zeros remaining to place. We have 1. This is the remaining number of 1s to place. And then also previous, which is just the previous element. So if 0 ever equals 0 and 1 ever equals 0, this means that we have found a valid array and we just return 1. We also check if 0 is less than 0 or 1 is less than 0. If this is ever the case, it means we've placed too many of one element and have gone too far. It's not a valid array, so we just return 0 here. Then what we're going to do is initialize our answer variable. Now here's where we handle this limit logic. Basically what we're saying is we're going to place from 1 to limit of this character because we know that that's the maximum consecutive number that we can place. So basically here what we're saying is if our previous is 0 or if we haven't placed any elements previous to this, and this is the case where we're just starting out, what we're going to do is try to place as many of these 1s as possible. And basically what we're doing is saying to our answer, we're going to add the solution to this subproblem, where if we have the same number of zeros, we've subtracted out I 1s, and then we're going to say that our previous element is a 1. We do very similar logic for the 1s. We say if our previous is 1, where we haven't placed anything yet, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to subtract that many number of zeros from our subproblem. We're going to keep the same number of ones, but then say that our previous element is 0. Then at the end, we return our answer. So here we're just calling this helper function, initializing with the starting number of zeros and ones. We're also passing in none. This is just to say that we haven't placed anything yet, and we handle this in our code. So then let's submit and see if this works. And it does. Well, hopefully this was helpful. Thank you for watching.